The idea of encountering a spirit can be frightening to contemplate. The concept becomes even more terrifying when you know that the spirit in question has nothing but evil in its heart, and that they are intent on darkening and claiming your very soul. Naturally, the various sects of Christianity have an expansive collection of lore concerning such creatures. Hello, I'm Andrew Boyd, and though I'm getting to the point where I would gladly make a deal with any demon I came across in order to escape from this empty and lifeless void, I will instead pass the time by informing you of the top 5 evil spirits the Vatican fears. Let us begin our journey into the unknown excesses of evil together. Number 5. Mephistopheles. Mephistopheles, or Mephisto to his friends, is a demon who features prominently in German folklore. Although he has since become somewhat of a stock character, he is primarily known for the role he plays in the Faust legend. The Faust legend is inspired by the life of a real alchemist, astrologer, and magician Johann Georg Faust, who lived in Germany during the late 1400s and early 1500s. It is, of course, unclear how closely Faust's life follows the legend it inspired. The tale of his interactions with Mephistopheles has been passed down for centuries after his death. In the folk legend, Faust has become depressed with his life as a scholar and tries to take his own life. When the attempt fails, he calls on the devil, hoping to acquire magical powers that will allow him to indulge in all the earthly pleasures he can imagine. The devil then sends his representative, Mephisto, to make a deal with Faust. Faust and the demon broker a deal that will make Mephistopheles serve Faust with his powers for a set number of years. When that time is up, Mephisto will claim his soul and take Faust to hell, where he will be punished and forced to serve Satan for all of eternity. Faust uses Mephistopheles for a variety of purposes over the years, most famously to help him seduce a beautiful young maiden named Gretchen, with whom he has a child. When the child is born, Gretchen realizes the baby's unholy nature and throws it into the water, causing her to be arrested and executed for murder. Faust is corrupted and realizes his sins are unforgivable and is carried away to hell by Mephistopheles. True or not, the Faust legend has become deeply ingrained in culture, and I'm sure the Vatican worries that their flock will not realize the message of the tale and will try to make deals of their own with Satan's representative, Mephistopheles. Number 4. Incubus. One of the more taboo evil spirits on this list is the Incubus, the male equivalent to a succubus. While a succubus is known for seducing and sleeping with men in order to impregnate themselves with ghostly children, the Incubus comes into a woman's bed while she is asleep and impregnates her. She will then carry the baby to term, giving birth to deformed witches, wizards, or demons. Not all of these offspring become evil, however, with the first legend of a wizard being fathered by an incubus actually being the legendary wizard who served King Arthur during the days of Camelot. In the late 1400s, demonology text Malleus Maleficarum by the German Catholic clergyman Heinrich Kramer, the author talks about incubi and states that there are 5 ways to get rid of them: moving the afflicted woman to a different location, exorcism, sacramental confession, the sign of the cross, or excommunication of the attacking entity, which even the book itself admits is basically just another term for an exorcism. If we are to believe Kramer's account, then incubi seem to be relatively easy demons to get rid of, for a demon, being subject to all of the usual tricks of the exorcist trade, and being able to be shaken by simply moving. But according to the works of the Franciscan friar Ludovico Maria Sinistari, they are much more difficult to deal with than the typical demon, with him saying that an incubus does not obey exorcists, has no dread of exorcism, shows no reverence for holy things, at the approach of which they are not in the least bit overawed. If this description is true, then this would be one of the types of demons the Vatican would most dread going up against, as none of their usual tools or techniques seem to have any effect on this seducer from hell. Number 3. Master Leonard. I never thought someone named Leonard could be frightening, and yet here we are. Leonard is one of the spirits or demons featured in the 1818 demonology text, the Dictionnaire Infernal by Jacques Collin, which describes various demons as well as their hierarchies. Leonard is described as a 3-horned goat with the face of a man who uses his horns to initiate initiate his followers and grant them satanic powers. His job title is Grand Master of the Nocturnal Orgies of Demons, which is undeniably impressive. He is known for having banquets thrown in his honor by his followers, where they all consume the flesh of a stillborn goat, which is then eaten without salt and boiled with reptiles in order to depurify the sinless meat. He also has a habit of transforming into a handsome young soldier and luring young women into the wilderness, where he will impregnate them, with all the resulting children being stillborn as an offering to sin. Male followers of Leonard are granted the ability to transform into monstrous animals, or even the incubi, which we already detailed. What makes Leonard so frightening for the Vatican isn't just his ability to corrupt people, but the idea that his actions directly lead to more demonic creatures that they are then unable to effectively fight being created. Number 2. Abaddon. The term Abaddon is a Hebrew word meaning destruction or doom. The term is used in the Masoretic text of the Hebrew Bible throughout both the Old and New Testament to describe moments of doom or destruction, such as in Job 26 verse 6. The Sheol, meaning grave, is naked before him, and Abaddon has no covering. But it is not just a catch-all term for doom and destruction in the Bible. It is also a figure in the book of Revelations chapter 9. Then the fifth angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star that had fallen from heaven to earth, and it was given the key to the pit of the abyss. The star opened the pit of the abyss, and smoke rose out of it like the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke from the pit. And out of the smoke locusts descended on the earth, and they were given power like that of the scorpions of the earth. They were told not to harm the grass of the earth or any plant or tree, but only those who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. The locusts were not given power to kill them, but only to torment them for 5 months. And their torment was like the stinging of a scorpion. In those days, men will seek death and will not find it. They will long to die, but death will escape them. And the locusts looked like horses prepared for battle, with something like crowns of gold on their heads, and faces like the faces of men. They had hair like that of women, and teeth like those of lions. They also had thoraxes like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the roar of many horses and chariots rushing into battle. They had tails with stingers like scorpions, which they had the power to injure people for 5 months. They were ruled by a king, the Angel of the Abyss. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon. The identity of Abaddon is up for interpretation, but many believe that he is the Antichrist, and others Satan himself. Perhaps more optimistically, some consider him to be a representative of God, being a resurrected Jesus. Most interpretations are pretty dire in their assessment. If Abaddon is really Satan or the Antichrist, then it makes sense the Vatican would be nervous about him and his army of locusts. Number 1. Beelzebub. Beelzebub was a deity worshipped by the Philistines, whose name is literally translated as the Lord of the Flies. He was worshipped in Ekron before he was adopted by Abrahamic religions, not as a god, but as a major demon. In Christian theology, he is one of the 7 princes of hell, representing the sins of gluttony and envy. In the Testament of Solomon, he makes an appearance, saying that he was a fallen angel associated with the planet Venus, or the evening star, making him synonymous with Lucifer in this particular appearance. He claims that his methods of destruction are installing tyrants, causing people to worship demons, to cause priests to indulge in their lust, and to cause jealousies in cities and murders, and to bring about war. Some texts conflate Beelzebub with Satan, with others making them different entities. In these versions, he is said to have led a successful revolt in hell against the devil, being the chief lieutenant of Lucifer. He is one of the 3 most prominent fallen angels, alongside Lucifer and Leviathan, with certain texts such as Paradise Lost, describing him as being second in hell only to Satan himself. He is given credit for a lot of possessions and evils, with his name being cited often during the Salem witch trials of 1692 and 1693. His ranking in the hierarchy of hell, in addition to the understandable anger he would have at being displaced as a deity only to become a demon, would make me nervous if I were a member of the Vatican concerned with going up against demonic forces. With that, our journey through 5 of the 7 layers of hell has come to an end. The demonic forces that run this dark dimension have asked that I remind you to like, comment, and subscribe, lest they be forced to cast you into the void, where you will experience a fate akin to eternal damnation, being forced to host videos on the macabre and the disturbing, with only generic looped spooky music to keep your mind from turning to insane mush, here on Top 5 Scary Videos.